Today we are going to review how to solve one and two-step equations. You should be on page 3 in your new notes packet. Remember that to solve equations, we must use inverse operations. Since equations are balanced on the left and right sides of the equal sign, we must make sure that we always do the same thing on both sides of that equation. So when I say inverse operations, the inverse of adding is subtracting. The inverse of subtracting is adding. The inverse of multiplying is dividing, and the inverse of dividing is multiplying. Let's start with one-step equations. In this equation, we see x plus 7 equals negative 12. Well, when I say that I need x by itself, I mean on the left side of the equal sign. Right now, there's a plus 7 with it. So I am going to use the inverse, which is subtracting 7, and I am going to do that on both sides of the equation. 7 minus 7 will cancel each other out to make 0, and x plus 0 is just x. On this side, I'm going to do negative 12 minus 7. Well, negative 12 minus 7 is negative 19. So my solution would be x equals negative 19. Remember, you can always check your answer by substituting it back in the original equation. In this case, our equation said x plus 7 equals negative 12. Well, I can put my solution of negative 19 in for x and see if it's correct. Well, when I do negative 19 plus positive 7, I get negative 12. So since I get down to an equation that is balanced, that means that my solution of x equals negative 19 is correct. My next equation says y minus 11 equals negative 2. To get y by itself, I need to do the inverse of subtracting 11. So I need to add 11 on both sides. Negative 11 plus positive 11 is 0, so these would cancel to leave me with y equals. Then negative 2 plus positive 11 is positive 9. So my solution here is y equals 9. Next, I have negative 7k equals 49. Well, negative 7k means negative 7 times k. To get rid of the negative 7, I would need to do the inverse, which is dividing by negative 7 on both sides. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. And if I have 1k, that is the same as just k. So those will cancel to leave me with k. Positive 49 divided by negative 7 is negative 7. So my solution is k equals negative 7. Next, I have n over 8 equals negative 7. Remember that when we see a fraction bar, the fraction bar always tells us that we're dividing. So this really says n divided by 8 equals negative 7. Well, the inverse of dividing by 8 is going to be multiplying by 8, which I'm going to do on both sides of the equation. Well, these 8s will make 1, so they'll cancel because 1n is just n. On this side, negative 7 times positive 8 is negative 56. So my solution is n equals negative 56. Next, I have 4/5 x equals 12. Well, this means 4/5 times x equals 12. So the inverse of multiplying by 4/5 is going to be dividing by 4/5 on both sides. Well, these will cancel because they'll make 1, and 1x is just x. Now on this side, we see 12 divided by 4/5. Well, if I have 12 divided by 4/5, then I really would need to use my rule for dividing fractions, which is multiply by the reciprocal. So I would take 12 and I would multiply it by the reciprocal of 4/5, which is 5/4. Well, 12 is the same as 12 over 1, and I would just multiply. 12 times 5 is 60, and 1 times 4 is 4. If I do 60 over 4, that's the same as 60 divided by 4, which is 15. So for this problem, x equals 15. Next, I have negative n over 9 equals negative 3. Well, it's important to know that if a whole fraction is negative, that means that either the numerator or the denominator is negative. The best thing to do in a situation like this is to put the negative sign with the denominator so that you can just get rid of the negative with that symbol, with that number. So this is going to be the same as saying n divided by -9 equals -3. Now to get rid of -9, I'm going to need to do the inverse of dividing, which is multiplying by -9 on both sides. These would cancel to leave me with n equals, and then -3 times -9 is positive 27. So my solution is that n equals positive 27. Now you do the last row of one-step equations. For the first problem here, to get b by itself, I would need to do the inverse of subtracting 6, which is adding 6 on both sides. -17 plus +6 is -11. On this side, -6 plus +6 cancels to leave me with b, so the solution is b equals -11. On this side, I would need to divide by 8/5 on both sides. These would cancel and leave me with y equals, well, if I do 4/15 divided by 8/5, that's the same as multiplying 4/15 by the reciprocal of 8/5, and the reciprocal is 5/8. Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and 15 times 8 is 120. Now, both of these can be divided by 20. So 20 divided by 20 is 1, and 120 divided by 20 is 6. So my solution would be 1/6. The last one is 11x equals -187. Well, to get x by itself, I would need to divide by 11 on both sides. These would cancel to leave me with x equals, well, -187 divided by +11 is -17. Now for two-step equations. It's important to remember that when we solve equations, we actually use the order of operations, but we use it in reverse. That means that we would add or subtract first, or get rid of the adding or subtracting first, and then we would get rid of the multiplying or dividing second. So in the problem, 3n minus 7 equals 14, I would need to get rid of the -7 first. So I would use the inverse, which is adding 7 on both sides. -7 plus +7 cancels to leave me with 3n equals, and 14 plus 7 is 21. Now to get n by itself, I need to get rid of the 3. 3 is being multiplied by n, so the inverse is dividing by 3 on both sides. These 3's will cancel to leave me with n equals, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So my solution is n equals 7. For -15 equals x over 9 minus 4, I need to get rid of the subtracting 4 first. So I would do the inverse, which is adding 4 on both sides. -15 plus +4 is -11, and then I have my equal sign. On this side, -4 plus +4 cancels, and what I'm left with is x over 9, or x divided by 9. To get x by itself, I need to use the inverse of dividing by 9, which is multiplying by 9, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Well, +9 times -11 is -99. And on this side, my 9's cancel to leave me with x. So my solution is x equals -99. Next, I have -10y minus 13 equals 37. Well, I need to get rid of the -13 first, so I'm going to do the inverse, which is adding 13 on both sides. Well, -13 plus +13 cancels to leave me with -10y equals 37 plus 13 is 50. To get y by itself, I need to get rid of the -10. Well, -10 is being multiplied by y here, so I'm going to use the inverse, which is dividing by -10 on both sides. These will cancel to leave me with y equals, and positive 50 divided by negative 10 is negative 5. Next, I have 1/3 b plus 12 equals 15. Well, the first thing I need to do is get rid of the plus 12. So the inverse of adding 12 is subtracting 12, which I'm going to do on both sides. These will cancel to leave me with 1/3 b equals, and then 15 minus 12 is 3. Now to get b by itself, I need to get rid of 1/3. That means I need to divide by 1/3 on both sides. These 1/3s will cancel, but I need to know what 3 divided by 1/3 equals. Well, if I do 3 divided by 1/3, that's the same as multiplying 3 by the reciprocal of 1/3. Well, this reciprocal is 3 over 1. Well, 3 over 1 is the same as just 3. So this is like saying 3 times 3, which is 9. So that means that b is equal to 9. Next, negative 7x minus 4 equals 10. I'm going to add 4 on both sides. These will cancel to leave me with negative 7x equals 10 plus 4 is 14. To get x by itself, I'm going to use the inverse of multiplying by negative 7, which is dividing by negative 7 on both sides. These will cancel to leave me with x equals positive 14 divided by negative 7 is negative 2. So x equals negative 2. Then I have negative 6a plus 12 equals 0. I'm going to start by subtracting 12 from both sides. 12 minus 12 cancels to leave me with negative 6a. 0 minus 12 is negative 12. Now to get a by itself, I need to use the inverse of multiplying by negative 6, which is dividing by negative 6. So I'm going to divide by negative 6 on both sides here. When I divide by negative 6, these will cancel to leave me with a equals negative 12 divided by negative 6 is positive 2. So that means that my solution is a equals positive 2. Now I want you to complete the last row of problems. For 3/5 x minus 4 equals negative 16, we would add 4 on both sides first. These would cancel to leave us with 3/5 x equals, and then negative 16 plus 4 is negative 12. Then I would divide by 3/5 on both sides, which would leave me with x equals. If I do negative 12 divided by 3/5, that's the same as negative 12 times the reciprocal, which is 5/3. Well, negative 12 is like negative 12 over 1. Negative 12 times positive 5 is negative 60. 1 times 3 is 3. So negative 60 divided by 3 is negative 20. That means that x equals negative 20. For negative 1/2 f plus 9 equals negative 16, I would subtract 9 from both sides first. These would cancel to leave me with 1/2 f equals negative 16 minus 9 is negative 25. Then I would divide by 1/2 on both sides. These would cancel to leave me with f equals. If I did negative 25 divided by 1/2, that's the same as saying negative 25 times the reciprocal of 1/2, which is 2 over 1. Well, 2 over 1 is the same as just 2. So this is like saying negative 25 times 2, which is negative 50. So f equals negative 50. The last one just says h over negative 4 equals negative 3. To get rid of negative 4, I would multiply by negative 4 on both sides. These would cancel, which would give me h equals negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12.